What's up? A to Z Sports here live on a Friday. I am back and I'm in parts unknown. I'm at the beach. You guys can see that behind me. But we're here to talk a little Titans as they get ready for the Arizona Cardinals here coming up in just a couple days. And from what I can tell, it's been a pretty dramatic week. JT is in Titans land. I leave Tuesday, and all of a sudden, there's infighting. There's things that just get even more dramatic and worse. We're going to go through all of that. Now I'm going to get a recap of that. But first, we're going to talk about a Titans weakness is finally meeting its equal match, and then how can Cam Ward elevate this 0-4 Titans team against maybe a beatable opponent in the Arizona Cardinals on the road out west. So we're going to have fun with this conversation, and then we'll get to Ain't That Good News to wrap up the week. JT, what's going on? Thanks for holding down the fort a little bit, and let's get this thing rocking and rolling here.
Yeah, good morning, Austin. It's good to see you back. We were asking all week long where you went, but it's good to see you safe and sound. Now I'm glad that our strike task force here at the A to Z Sports company was able to break you out of whatever military prison that you were in this entire week, and now you are stationed at your witness protection plan or wherever you are now. That is good to see. We're good that you have made it safe and sound. So that's very good to see. But yes, you have missed so much, and yet none of it matters is the bottom line, because everything that was so dramatic this week is not going to matter in another 24 hours. So it's a very good sign that we are talking about the right things this week. But it's been a good week, and I'm excited to talk about this matchup. Finally, we're giving you guys what you want this week, which is talking about the football. So I'm excited to do that, excited to get all your thoughts from the drama this week, and excited to get this thing going.
Yeah, so tell the people what we got to do first before we do it. Did you already do that part?
Oh, no, sorry. My bad. I was so I was so enthralled in the talking about the drama. But make sure you guys are liking the show. Make sure you are subscribed to the A to Z Sports YouTube channel. Make sure you have hit that like button on Facebook. Make sure you like the Facebook page as well. Share it with a friend. Just hit that share button in the bottom right corner over on Facebook and get those likes up. We need to get those likes up this morning as much as possible. So.
All right, let's do it officially. Welcome to A to Z Sports here live on a Friday. I'm Austin Stanley. He's JT Runke. We go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Gotta make sure you leave a 5-star Google review, and then I will also helps out our content and our show quite a bit. Also want to make sure we do thank our sponsors, because they do make it happen for us and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process at wilsoncountyhyundai.com in Lebanon. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive and orthopedic sports medicine care. Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. They're local to the mid-state area and online at bartondrury.com. Botero Carts, life is short, by golf cart. 2 locations in Middle Tennessee for you, Columbia and Gallatin. And Window Nation, the deal continues. Buy 2 windows and you get 2 free with no payments necessary for 2 years at windownation.com. So let's see. Jeff asking what beach. I will not tell you what beach I'm at. I'm not doing that. That is dumb. But I'm at the beach.
Witness protection.
That is a real, this is not an AI background situation. This is an actual beach situation I got going on here. So real stuff, not AI at all. So I appreciate that. But yeah, the bit that you guys had going on the last couple of days, I was actually not comment. I poked in the show over the last few days just to kind of hear, just make sure things are going okay. And then heard you guys being like, yeah, we don't know where he's at. He might show up Friday, he might not. So I just decided to keep my mouth shut, keep my fingers chill, and not comment to ruin the bit. But no, I'm not in South Carolina, Jason. You guys, I'm not in any of the Carolinas. You can keep guessing all you want. So yeah, I'm gonna take
take a poll of the chat and keep watching throughout the entire show, and maybe by good news, I'll give people good news if they get it right, or maybe good news for you that they didn't get it right. So
Yeah, yeah,
there you
we'll
go.
see. Yeah, the state of Florida. So, congrats on guessing which of the many beaches that are in the state of Florida. But no, all right, we're gonna have a good show here on this Friday. So, JT, I got off the plane a couple days ago and saw all these text messages about Easton and you and Ryan all talking about the whole we asked stuff from Cam, and Jeff didn't like it. Callahan said it wasn't smart. He needed to grow up. And Cody Barton said it wasn't the right thing to say. All these things, right? I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I knew this week was going to be a doozy. And I'm glad I missed the majority of it. So if you could, in like 100 seconds, give me a recap of all the drama with the Titans this past week.
Yeah, well, first of all, starts off Brian Callahan not fired even after we made it through an Amy Adams Strunk firing Tuesday. We made it through there, so there was no
Yeah.
dysfunction there. It was good. And then we get to the big debate of the week, whether Cam Ward's comments, were the correct thing to do as the leader of this football team, as a young leader of this football team. We heard from Jeffrey Simmons and Cody Barton about their thoughts on, whether that may be true or not, but also, is that a thing you say publicly? So that was the whole thing. It was a Jeffrey Simmons, Cody Barton, and a few others in the locker room versus Cam Ward, the national media, all the Titans fan base, everybody versus them. And then, so that was fun. But then also, John Robinson decides to hijack his wife's birthday post and, make a comment.
I did see that.
And make a comment about the state of the Tennessee Titans, which is also very funny. But once again, all of this drama is stuff that in the moment when Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons and Cody Barton were all talking about it, they were talking about how it's behind them. And so once again, we get to talk about it, and it's in the news cycle for another 12, 16-ish hours, but it's already behind this team as they look towards to Arizona. So
yeah, I see a comment in the chat saying that there's drama between A to Z and other media outlets. No, there's no drama between A to Z and media outlets. Media, like there's no drama between A to Z and other people who are credentialed to cover the Titans. That is a false statement on that one. So all right, let's get to the real stuff, because the Titans are the game. And I think because of a couple developments, do the Titans have a chance to win this game? Because there's injuries around the Cardinals that I think have a Titans weakness finally meeting an equal match. And that Titans weakness is run defense. The Titans are 0-4. And I feel like in every single one of those 4 games, and well, the truth is, in every single one of those 4 games, it was a 1-score game in the fourth quarter. And then the wheels fall off, the dam breaks, the defense breaks, and somebody from the other team has a big dashing run through the defense that kind of breaks it all, and then a touchdown happens and it's over, right? But there's been a lot of injuries with the Cardinals and their running backs, because we all saw, and this is the stats, the rushing stats for the Cardinals this year, sorted by most to least. And Trey Benson he's out, right? He's not coming back.
He's on IR.
He's on IR, and James Conner is in a worse situation overall with his injury as well. And so you've got Kyler Murray with 25 carries for 148 yards on the year. Then you've got Greg Dortch, a wide receiver, and then you've got Yamari DeMarcado and Michael Carter, who have a combined 5 carries for 9 yards. That's there. So you've got at least a weaker running attack, and so you've got the overall aspect of week versus week. So that's a good thing for the Titans, but you do have the Kyler Murray storyline of all this. So let's go ahead and get to Jeffrey Simmons talking about Kyler Murray and how to contain him, because the Titans really haven't had a quarterback beat them with their legs. Stroud didn't do it. Daniel Jones did it a couple times. one getting out of a sack or two, but wasn't like crazy killing them with the legs. Matt Stafford definitely not. And then Bo Nix didn't really do much either in week one. So let's hear Jeff Simmons and Cody Barton talking about Kyler Murray and how to make sure you contain Kyler here on this Sunday.
Keep him in the well. You got to keep him in the pocket. He's a guy that, make a lot of plays with the legs. He want to throw on the run. If we could keep him in the well, keep him in the pocket, we could disrupt the middle of the pocket. All edge players have to play good. They have to make sure. Well, I'm not even going to say all edge players. Us up front got to play good. We got to be able to collapse the pocket. We have to be on the same page, rushing against a guy like this. I think last time, I can remember, he took my ankles from me one time. So it's like one of the things when you get him in space and if you let him get out the pocket, he could hurt the defense. He could throw in the ball. He throwing the ball off his back leg. Look like a baseball player, which we all know he is a baseball player. So I think at the end of the day, when we're on the same page, rushing together up front, we'll have some success against this guy. But the first thing is going to be able to stop the run. I did see one of their running back I heard, another running back I heard, but, I'm sure they're going to still try to establish the run because a lot of things they do is off the run, play action pass. But when you get them into that passing situation, we got to keep them in the pocket.
Good. They got a lot of weapons, like you said, and, his element of being able to run the ball with his legs, that just adds another layer to the offense. So it's going to be a good test for us.
Jeff. So Cody Barton and Jeff Simmons there. Cody Barton's so just jacked up on adrenaline that he said the same thing that Jeff did in about a quarter of the time. But overall, Kyler, we know really, can't hurt teams. And we've seen this over and over. And there's nothing more debilitating when you're watching your defense play football and seeing a running quarterback just really just gash you in a scramble where you think you got him, you think you have him contained, and all of a sudden he just leaks out and kills you and picks up that 3rd and 7 by gaining 9 yards on a run and scurries out of bounds. So that's that situation. So we're going to get to our question here in a second, but JT, wanted to hear your quick thoughts overall on the running back situation. Like who is Emari Demercado and who is Michael Carter?
Yeah, I mean, Emari Demercado has been with the Arizona Cardinals for, I think, 3 years now, and he basically plays a similar role to what Tyjae Spears would in the Titans offense. He is a 3rd down pass-catching back that will now have to, basically become a 50-50 timeshare with Michael Carter. He is best in the pass game, so that's where he shines. Michael Carter, former New York Jet, was kind of came onto the scene with a couple good games early in his career, but has fallen off mightily since. He's going to be their guy that is going to be a 1st and 2nd down back that is going to try to be the one that establishes the run game. But make no mistake, he is not anything like James Conner. He is not anything like Trey Benson. He's not nearly as good as those two. And so you look at what they have. They have a 4th string running back. I basically would liken him to Julius Chestnut, Michael Carter currently. So like that's the kind of level that you're playing with as your 1st and 2nd down. It's like as if Julius Chestnut was the running back for them starting. So you have him, and then you have Emari Demercado, who is going to be really involved, I will say. You saw it on Thursday Night Football last week against the Seahawks when Trey Benson kind of went down late in that game. He's the one that Kyler Murray threw a touchdown pass to and was able to keep that game close. So like he's going to be involved in that play action dump off game. He's going to be able to, if they give him space, he's going to make the most of it. So like he is, for my money's worth, the guy that they need to watch more than Michael Carter. But still, none of these guys are guys that can, break yards after contact. These are not guys who are ground and pound runners that are going to make you pay. Like if you play simple, basic football, which the Titans have not been able to in the second half or really at all, they should not be a factor whatsoever. And I think that's the big thing that we're going to talk about, right? It's the fact that these guys, it says it in the title, the Titans' weakness, which is the very movable object, meet a non-movable force, which is the Cardinals running back room. Like, this is a running back room that is not going to be able to really control the game currently. And I think that's the biggest thing for them.
All right, so we're gonna get to the chat involved where in something other than just guessing which beach I'm at. But what's your confidence level, 1 through 10, in the Titans defense not breaking in the second half? Because it's a specific time situation, right? Because the Titans defense has been good. I think we can say it. The Titans defense has been good in the first half. They've been good for mostly the third quarter, and then it just has been absolute hell in the fourth quarter. So the confidence level on a 1 through 10 scale, what is your confidence level in the Titans defense not breaking in the second half versus the Cardinals, knowing the situation with the running backs that you're talking about, third and fourth string running backs for the Cardinals, and Kyler Murray being the main rushing threat here for Arizona. But we'll get to your opinions on that. I'm going to tell you guys about our friends and our partners at Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. Zach and I were looking for, well, we already had our workers' comp policy through Barton Drury Insurance Group. That was something that made a lot of sense as we were growing. A growing company, you have to have workers' comp, and you have to have workers' comp policies in every state which you have employees, which is interesting and something that you have to kind of figure out state by state laws when you have a digital company and employees in, I don't know how many different states we have. I should probably count that up one day. But Barton Drury has us hooked up with that. And they also were able to have us offer employee benefits with health coverage through Barton Drury as well. That we shop the market. We try to find the best employee benefits rates we could find and the plan that we could find for our company. And Barton Drury was there for us. They're local to the mid-state area, and they are really good at what they do. And they also are great at customer support because they have been with us every step along the way, because insurance is complicated. So make sure you go to Barton Drury Insurance Group, whether it's individual, family, they got you covered, home, renter, auto, boat. They got you right there. So check them out online at bartondrury.com.
Also got to shout out our friends over at BTA Sports. Smart bets, no guesswork. Austin last night, BTA, the line was -8.5 for the Rams. BTA had that the Rams favored as a smaller favorite than what the books had. So if you wanted to take that into account and take the San Francisco +8.5, you would have been making some money like myself. Very interesting game last night. Mac Jones and a bunch of nobodies still being able to score on that Rams team. What does that say about the Titans? But we did that with BTA. Once again, use code ATOZ when you download the BTA Sports app to get your 3-day free trial to a 14-day free trial. And then after that, it is $9.99 per week. Once again, you can use them if you have 2 or 3 legs in your parlay and looking for that final one to put it over the edge. That's why we trust BTA. Smart bets start here at BTA Sports.
All right. Tyler from BTA sent me a parlay that he has on the Titans this morning. So I'll share that later on. But all right, to the chat you go, JT. What's your confidence level in the Titans defense not breaking in the second half against the Cardinals with the injury situation Arizona has going on with their top 2 running backs out and on injured reserve?
Despite the Cardinals having maybe one of the worst running back situations right now in terms of every team, Darren still kicks us off with a 0 confidence that they can contain them. Curtis with a 4, Cody -1, Clayton 2, Chris asks, is 0 an option? Absolutely is. Boondock Boys Golf, 6.642, 5 right on the middle there. Tall Texan says 1, show us. Eric finally showing some positivity here. Says 8, I have faith in them this game. Darren going back down to -100. Jason Dyson, 7.87. Boondock also calling Kyler Murray a fraud. Assad says 2. Kyler will gash them in the first half too, though. 2.5, 2, 1. Jeff says 3.006, 2, 6.5, -100. Way too weak. 1 third string rookie beat them last week, says Curtis. Vanessa with a 1. Not a lot of confidence here. 2 from Eric. So even with the the very beatable running back room that Arizona has. Not a lot of confidence here with the chat.
Randy says DeMarcado is going to be a household name come Monday morning. That would be Bob said DeMarcado is a good fill-in back. And you kind of gave your thoughts on DeMarcado, maybe more of a pass game threat than maybe a run game threat. And we'll kind of see how that plays out. But I'll go first. So to me, this is kind of a three-headed offense for Arizona, and that's kind of it. It's Kyler multiple ways, obviously throwing and running. Then you have the two pass catching options that have way more production than anybody else behind them who is healthy. You've got Trey McBride with 234 yards on 24 carries. And then you have Marvin Harrison Jr. with 16 catches for 208 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then you have to go all the way down. Trey Benson's third on the team, but he's out. James Conner has a receiving touchdown. He's out. And so you got Elijah Higgins with 55 yards, Greg Dortch with 47 yards, Michael Wilson with 36 yards. Yes, you have DeMarcado with 1 receiving touchdown as well. But like it's Kyler, it's McBride, it's Harrison. If the Titans can stop them, then I feel like there's a good chance to make the Cardinals one-dimensional. And now you put the situation in how well can you contain Kyler Murray in his scramble game, which is something that Jeffrey Simmons, who is an overly aggressive player, usually when you're aggressive, you lose contain. And it's how can you be the right level of aggressive. Now, here's the good thing about the other rest of the Titans pass rush is that they're not very good. And so it might be easier for them to be contained players because they're not like beating their guy and getting upfield in the first place. So I think that goes hand in hand there. So I think my confidence level in them not breaking, again, this has nothing to do with the final score of the game, but the confidence level in the defense not breaking in the second half, the way they have the first 4 weeks of the season, I'm going to say I'm over the fence to the positive side at a 6.5.
Yeah.
And they're just not breaking, like just not having the wheels fall off and they forget how to tackle and they can't stop anything.
Yeah. And I think when we talk about wheels coming off, right, we're fully talking about the third and fourth quarter breakdowns that we've seen over the past weeks where the bona fide stud running backs in, let's see who, well, I mean, I guess not last week. I mean, Woody Marks. Woody Marks
was a draft pick that people were like, oh, people liked Woody Marks coming out.
Oh, I love Woody Marks, right? But he's not. He's still better than Amari DeMarcado and Michael Carter's for my money's worth. So
for sure.
But yeah, you talk about Jonathan Taylor, you talk about Kyron Williams, you talk about J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey in week 1, like. That's the kind of caliber of guys who started to really make you pay down the stretch of those games. Is Amari DeMarcado and Michael Carter going to have the ability to do that on their own without the Titans messing up like a Jonathan Taylor or a Kyron Williams or J.K. Dobbins / R.J. Harvey have? I don't think so. And so I think that goes out of the equation. So then you go to the Titans side of it, right? The Titans, if you've been paying attention all week to what Denard Wilson had to say, to what Cody Barton and Jeff Simmons had to say, to the entire identity defensively of this team, it's simplifying things on the defense side, going back to basics, and really trying to eliminate that. We've heard them kind of excuse make over the first 2 to 3 weeks of the season, to the point now where Denard's basically like, we just got to get back to basic football, right? Like we got to get back to basic football to the point where we are not having that happen. And so it feels like this is the week where out of everything that they do, no matter what, there's no real kind of wanting to bring an edge. It is basic defensive football to get a baseline for your team, right? That's what this team needs desperately. And when you talk about, those breakdowns, I think you can see this week the Titans really make an emphasis of that. Now, does that mean that emphasis is also stopping Kyler? I'm not so sure. We've seen in the past this team really have trouble getting mobile quarterbacks to the ground. You talk about last year, even with a lot of the same pieces around with Drake May or Jaden Daniels or some of those guys who are able to run all over him. I do think Quandre Diggs is going to have to step up in a major way this week. We talked about him last year as the real piece that made that run defense really good. He has not shown that as much this season. We're going to need to see a lot of that this week. You talked about Jeff in that containment game. I think you also need to look at the edge group, and you're going to need a big time game from them in terms of Femi Oladejo setting the edge, because that's something outside of rushing the passer, that's something he can do very well, being a linebacker converted into an edge rusher. Like, he can do that very well. Arden Key's going to have to set his edge. You're going to have to get a lot out of the run game. And so I'm fairly confident with you as well. Like, I'm around a 6.8 to maybe a 7 in terms, because, and it's not because of, me being positive. Like, this is, they have it. It's the fact that this team has put so much emphasis on this fact this week that if they don't, there's no fixing it, right? This is the final stop. And so why be negative when, okay, with how many resources they're putting into stopping the run and containing this week, if they do not, then I'll lose confidence for the rest of the season, because they're going to throw everything at it to fix this problem this week. And if it is not going to happen, fine, I'll join everybody and be on the negative 100, because if you cannot stop Amari DeMarcado and Trey Benson, like, sure, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride could have games. Kyler Murray could have 50, 60 yards on the ground, because that's kind of how he is. But the main thing I'm looking at is Amari DeMarcado and Michael Carter not having 141 yards combined or something like that, right? Because I think that's what they're averaging.
Yep, 141 and a half yards rushing is what the Titans defense is giving up this year. And we don't have the splits on it, but we talked about in our pre-show calls. I wonder what percentage of those rushing yards are in the second half, and then what percentage of those rushing yards are just in the fourth quarter, because that's when it's been really ugly. The Broncos were just basically doing nothing on the ground until they rip off a big one in the fourth quarter. Same thing goes for Jonathan Taylor, just running roughshod everywhere. Woody Marks did it as well. So, even before all these injuries happened, like the leading rusher for the Cardinals in their 4 games so far this season, Benson, had 69 yards in week 1 and a win against the Saints. The Saints are bad, right? James Conner had 34 yards as a leading rusher against the Carolina Panthers, and Benson 42, and Kyler Murray had 41 last week in their loss to the Seahawks. So they're not just racking up. They're not getting a bunch of yards. Like, the Cardinals don't gain yards. In those games, I just went through 69, 34, 42, and 41. That is the high rusher. Kyler Murray's yards passing are 163, 220, 159, and 200. It's kind of like, right? Like, this might be a very ugly game of just not a lot of yards. Take the under and take on the points, and take the over on the punts. Is kind of where I'm going on this. Is like, I think the Titans defense should be okay defensively as far as lasting. Now, I do want to get to something, because you reminded me of something that I heard earlier in the week that honestly pissed me off. We don't have the video pulled of Denard Wilson, but I want to go off on something here in a little bit. So I will do that. But first, I'm going to tell you guys about our friends at Window Nation, my friends at Window Nation, because I have my windows on the way. Last Friday, a week from today, previous, a week ago today, I had the installers come by the house, and they did the official measurements to put those through manufacturing. That first couple weeks in November is the target date for our windows to be installed at our house. They are building them for us, custom for us. So custom windows with Window Nation. They're the top of the line windows. They're going to help us save money on our AC and our gas bill for heating and cooling. And they have honestly just been really fun to deal with. Like, they've been super easy. We've now had 3 people from Window Nation come by our house. All 3 people, great humans, very pleasant, great conversation. It feels like they're coming over to hang out and chat for a little bit while also hooking us up with the new windows. And their deal was phenomenal. Windows are a big, scary purchase. But Window Nation does a great job of making you feel comfortable with it and helping you slash off of that total cost there, because they have that deal that we talked about all September. They said, you know what? Nashville in particular is going so well. Let's run it back. Buy 2 windows, you get 2 windows free, and you don't have to pay anything until 2027. There's a lot of other different financing options for you to take advantage of, but buy 2 windows, you get 2 windows free with no payments needed until 2027. That includes no interest and so many perks along the way with Window Nation. Check them out online for a free estimate. Just have them come over for a free estimate at windownation.com.
Yeah, once again, got to shout out our friends at BTA. I know with the line this week, I know you have an interesting parlay that you're going to get to here with the Titans.
Yeah.
I believe still being a 9.5 point underdog at Arizona. I have not checked that line since it.
I will update that. I'll look. Hold on.
Okay.
Keep going.
BTA isn't a sports book. They are the tool that helps you win more than you lose. Data, decisions, dominance. They're the guys that run the models and are going to help you inform your picks to make smarter bets. Once again, use code ATOZ when you download the BTA Sports app, or just use the link in the show description or right before that title to turn your 3-day free trial into a 14-day free trial. After that, $9.99 per week. These guys have helped me get out of some tough spots the past couple of weeks. I know I was talking to Easton about it. Tough start to the season for some of us in terms of our bets, but I've had my bets bailed out by BTA. So got to use them in case you are in the same boat. Predict the unpredictable with BTA Sports.
All right, so currently Vegas has it at Cardinals -7.5 is what I'm seeing. Now that might, depending on what book you use, you see that. So okay, something that really pissed me off that I heard. This was from Tuesday's press conferences with the coordinators, but Denard Wilson was asked about the 2nd and 33 play where L'Jarius Sneed allowed a 37-yard catch to Nico Collins. Sneed did press coverage, and the safety didn't get over top. And Denard basically said, I'm paraphrasing here, but that it was the wrong coverage combination between Sneed and the safety. And I'm sitting there going like, and I don't know which safety it was over there, but I know it was L'Jarius Sneed. What in the world are you doing pressing anybody on 2nd and 33? That's just so arrogant and ignorant and overconfident that it fits what L'Jarius Sneed is doing here. Because this is, it made me question, like, are the Titans are they arrogant or are they stupid on defense? Because if they can't get the calls in right and can't get lined up correctly, they're one of those two things. They're either dumb and they can't get organized pre-snap and they don't understand what the call is coming from the coaches and the leaders on the team with that wearing the communication helmets, or they're arrogant and think it doesn't matter and think they can do it. Because I'm leaning more towards arrogant because I don't think L'Jarius Sneed's dumb. And I wouldn't call him dumb. I think he's arrogant because he did the whole who thing last week, and then it's 2nd and 33, and his arrogant ass is up there on Nico Collins' press coverage and gets smoked. Gets smoked down the sideline and gives up 37 yards. Like, what is going on here? Like, why is this so difficult? Like, you can press bail, but you can show if you're trying to disguise some stuff, that's cool. But press bail, 2nd and 33. It's so inexcusable. And Denard Wilson, had to be frustrated. And I feel like when coaches get criticized for players doing the wrong things, sometimes you see it come through in the coach's comments. And I'm pretty sure that's what Denard Wilson was feeling because it's on his resume that he's letting up a 2nd and 33 right as the defensive coordinator. Like, what are you calling there? Why is Sneed pressing? And he's like, man, the safety wasn't there, and Sneed messed up too. And I'm like, how do you not know what to where is the breakdown here? You know what it made me think of, JT? And I don't know if you were paying it, if you're covering the Titans at this point or not. But when Kevin Byard said in the 2020 year, when the Titans were breaking NFL records for the worst third down conversion percentage allowed, Kevin Byard said this defense isn't coordinated well. And we're not very coordinated. And that was the year that Mike Vrabel did not name a defensive coordinator. that he gave Shane Bowen the play call. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like Bo Harder right now,
Yeah,
except
yeah.
if Nick Holtz did. Like, so here, this is a pro Nick Holtz comment, right? If Nick Holtz didn't exist, is what the Titans were doing from a defensive standpoint in 2020 with Vrabel. There was no defensive coordinator. It was Shane Bowen as the outside linebackers coach calling plays on Sundays and not being the coordinator, doing double duty, just like Bo Hardigree. But Nick Holtz is here to bring it all together offensively. Now, it's still not working for this Titans team, but that's what it made me. It reminded me of the Kevin Byard comment. This defense isn't coordinated enough. So where's the breakdown of communication here? And I think that's a problem on top of the lack of competitive endurance to being able to stay locked in, stay on your P's and Q's, stay with your good technique and tackle soundly late in the game because you're not as good as the other team. So I think there's two things. You're not as good, and that leads to missed tackles and mistakes, but also there's a bad communication situation going on from what Denard Wilson said about that. So I'm just curious your thoughts over that.
Yeah, first of all, I will say the L'Jarius Sneed one. I think it can be like fault can be blamed on everybody involved because one, yes, like first of all, L'Jarius Sneed is pressing there. Can't be doing that. Second of all, it wasn't a very good press because he thought he had help behind him. Amani Hooker, not there, or I don't know who the safety was on that.
Yeah, the safety wasn't named, but I'm not sure exactly who it was.
It was one of Amani Hooker or Xavier Woods. Let's put it that way.
Right.
One of those guys was not there, which then leads to, well, what were they doing instead? Like, did they not understand the call there? Because obviously they thought the call was to keep L'Jarius Sneed one-on-one with Nico Collins on a 2nd and 33. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. And then it goes back
to me, the Sneed press man thing, even if he was expecting help over the top, that's a 2nd and 33. It's still play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's that situation there.
Yes,
you press man aggressively on 2nd and 33. What are you doing here? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I still do think like there was this comment that this is the kind of miscommunication / like disorganization that we have seen for a little bit now with the secondary, especially with the safety group from a couple games now. I know we talked about it after the Colts game as well, in which Amani Hooker kind of gets paid and then has looked bad for 2 games in a row now. Like I'm not exactly sure where the root of the issue is here, but like I agree with you. It's just something that they can't do. And I understand that Denard Wilson, it's not a good look for him, but it's also like on him to get his guys situationally aware of what's going on. And that has not happened for a while. So it's going to be interesting to see this week, especially with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. Like Trey McBride is a known commodity. You watched that game last week against the Seahawks. Marvin Harrison Jr. needed an act of God to get him right with that touchdown pass to kind of reset him. So like, are you going to get that reset, like rejuvenated Marvin Harrison, or is it going to go back to the Marvin Harrison who like just looks like a head case? Not sure.
It crazy eyes from Mr. Deeds.
Yes. It's going to be interesting, but like, yeah, that goes into it as well. By hopefully playing a more simple back to basics type of football, you hope that miscommunication also does not happen.
Yeah.
But like, once again, going to you, I agree that it's arrogant by L'Jarius Sneed. Can simple back to basics football stop L'Jarius Sneed from doing stupid things and winning stupid prizes?
The answer is no. No.
The answer is no. And so that's
why you have to bench him. Like that the ultimate, like if L'Jarius Sneed does something again, and I said this on Monday, if he does something again, you gotta bench him because he's just simply not following the coach's directions. Then making people look bad. He's making people look bad.
Can you now bench him without Jarvis? Like,
yes, I don't. Like, I'm not saying permanently bench him, but you gotta do something. You gotta put him in timeout.
So. I understand. I just don't know if that's like, does the cost outweigh the benefit?
Who cares? He has no consequences. He is making other people look bad.
Yeah. So
you sit him down, you put him in timeout, and You let
Pray to
somebody else
God
go in there
that
and get,
Baker
yeah.
and Armour Davis can hold it down.
Exactly. All right. Let's flip it around here. And yeah, he's a grown ass man, but I'm putting him in timeout if he keeps doing dumb things and he keeps doing things that he's not supposed to do, which is what Denard Wilson talked about on Tuesday with that 2nd and 33. Okay, so let's flip around to the offense side of the ball. Let's talk about Cam Ward. We're going to talk about football Cam Ward, not ass comments Cam Ward or not any drama Cam Ward, but football comments Cam Ward. JT, a narrative that you've been hearing about the quarterback's development from the coaches and from Cam himself. We'll get to those comments here in a second, but first, tell everybody about our friends at Botero Carts.
Yeah, Botero carts. Life is short. You got to buy a golf cart. The Titans, hey, they may be ass, but you can not have that affect your life because you can yourself buy a golf cart and do it with our friends over at Botero Carts. 0% financing for 36 months with carts starting at $6,700. They're open 7 days a week with full service sales and rental dealer for your convenience. Locally owned and operated here in Middle Tennessee with 2 locations to serve you, one in Gallatin, and then a brand new location in Columbia. No dealer fee, no credit card fee, and also a no credit needed option. So not going to trick you with any hidden fees or anything like that and make it as easy for you to start financing your brand new golf cart. Got to do it with our friends over at Botero Carts.
Also, BTA, Better for Betters. We've been talking about them for a while now. The new deal is still a 14-day free trial. That code is ATOZ14, or you can click the link in the description. It takes you right to that. But ATOZ14 for a 14-day free trial for their weekly pass. It is $9.99, $9.99. Normally, the free trial, if you don't use our link, is a 3-day free trial. So we're giving you 2 weeks of a free trial before you have to pay $10 to win. So you get 2 full weeks of data to figure out if you actually want that $9.99 transaction to go through or not. But that is BTA Better for Betters. I will go ahead and give you now. Let me see if I can pull this up quickly. Tyler from BTA gave me a win probability this morning of a parlay. 85% chance, JT, for this 2-leg parlay to hit. And right now, Tyler has it at plus 110. Chig, 30 plus receiving yards. Parlay with Chig, 3 or more catches.
All right.
85%.
I would love to see it this week.
Three for 30 plus for Chig.
Yes.
So, all right, we'll see how it goes. Okay, in order for that to happen, Cam Ward has to throw the football to him. So, JT, what's this development narrative going on this week with Cam Ward from practice and from his overall journey as a rookie quarterback?
Yeah, well, the thing that we talked about in the post-game show after the Titans' abysmal loss to the Texans was how I thought it was Cam Ward's worst game yet in his 4-game sample size, and it had to do a lot with his footwork looking the worst we've seen it over 4 games. And certainly it seemed like a lot of the rest of the media thought so as well, because that was a big topic of conversation this week, both with Brian Callahan on Wednesday, Nick Holtz on Tuesday, and Cam in his press conference on Wednesday. The basic idea is that it doesn't seem like Cam Ward's footwork is looking very good right now. And we all know that, especially after the entire experiment with Will Levis last offseason, before this one, the footwork is the biggest thing that makes a quarterback successful, right? Like, I think you talk about it for his accuracy, you talk about it for progression, you talk about it for pocket presence. It all comes down to the footwork. And bottom line, it has not looked very good, and certainly did not look very good this week or last week. So you go into, okay, for this team to be successful, then we talk about how Cam Ward needs to elevate this offense, right? It is going to only work if Cam Ward can do what Cam Ward does and make spectacular plays and carry this team to a win, essentially. Not even elevate, carry this offense to scores, carry this, because currently we've talked about how the Brian Callahan scheme does not seem to work at all. Once again, like, Kyle Shanahan, as I said, is out there with Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne and a bunch of other pieces. Now, I will say, like, if the Titans had CMC, would things look different? Probably. But Like Mac Jones out there with Kendrick Bourne ripping it for 130 plus yards still is a statement versus Cam Ward not being able to do anything or score any touchdowns with his team. Like Cam Ward needs to elevate because the scheme and Brian Callahan currently are not going to do it. And I don't think they will do it. That starts with his footwork, and it needs to get better. How much can it get better, though, I think is the biggest thing. And can it get better to the point where he is finally able to elevate? That's the context of the conversation we've been having all week with a lot of the coaches and the players at Titans camp. It's going to be really interesting to see because it's all part of this progression for Cam Ward, trying to get better every single week. And currently his footwork looks to be, we talked about regression. Maybe that's a strong way to put it, but like the regression of this team, it started like the one place that you can firmly supplant the regression in Cam Ward's game right now is his footwork.
Yeah, and I agree with Callahan's comment earlier in the week about like 4 games is too early to peg regression because this is just like the ebbs and flows of a season. Development for a quarterback is not linear. No development for anybody is linear. So here's Cam Ward on his footwork from Wednesday.
The areas that you've seen that needs improvement in that regard.
I just think on a lot of the quick game, just keeping it consistent with the right footwork and then getting back through the progressions.
Is there more up and down to it week to week than you expected and obviously than you'd like?
In what?
And in footwork?
Not really. It's more just when I have my mind made up, I would say that's the biggest thing.
You mean by that, like, the mistakes come because you've made up your mind to work? Explain what you mean by that.
Just whether it's man coverage or not, if I like my matchup, I know who I'm going to. I know, that me and him got to I got to throw him a good ball. He got to make a good play for us.
And you've seen some of the quicker throws. I feel like we all agree that the best plays that Cam Ward has made through his 4 games of his first NFL career season is off schedule, right? The scrambles, the different, elusiveness, all that kind of stuff, the improv. I've noticed, especially the last couple of weeks, the quicker throws seem to be off target because his feet are not ready and his arm angles are different. And so how is he rushing? Is he moving too fast? So I think there's a lot to that overall. Let's hear from Brian Callahan on his quarterback's footwork as well.
Wondering about the footwork element of quarterback growth. And are there any indications that is more or less linear?
There's certainly things, especially when you're coming from the college game into the pro game, and the timing is so much more exact at this level, and the progressions of the quarterback, where his eyes go, what the route is, tied directly into his drop and his footwork. Those things have to be very precise, and it does take some time for guys to understand what that feels like and what it looks like, where your feet are tied into really the progression. And so as your feet hit the top of the drop and you take one hitch and your eyes go 1 to 2 to 3, that's a huge part of playing quarterback in the NFL. And it's a process that takes guys a little bit of time. We're still working really hard with Cam on those things. There's moments where it's really good, and there's moments where he's continuing to understand and get better at it. Those are high areas of focus for us in terms of the timing of the passing game with tied in with his footwork and the discipline and patience of the footwork too. That's all a huge part of it. So it's a constant work in progress, and there's signs where it looks really good, and then we have moments where we got to keep correcting it. So I'd say the best thing is it's a work in progress.
So look, there's that, and I just saw this comment too that Darren says that I just completely disagree with. Darren says the fact that Mac Jones stepped in and looked good for Kyle is a huge indictment on Callahan, the Titans roster. I disagree completely. Mac Jones has started over 50 games in the NFL. 50. You can't just imagine do that thing and just get experience in the NFL. Like Cam started 4. Yeah, the roster's bad. Brian Callahan has not been good as a head coach, but I think it's completely apples and oranges here. Like, why are all these quarterbacks having resurgences in their careers? This is an epidemic in the NFL of quarterbacks having more success with their next team or their third team or their fourth team than they did their first team. And the Titans have to figure out how that cannot happen to Cam Ward. Cannot happen to Cam Ward. Cam Ward has to be great for this team that drafted him at number 1 overall 5-6 months ago. But I don't think that makes any sense, Darren. Like, and Mac Jones isn't that good. Mac Jones is a first-round pick. Whether
I think
you agree with
my
Mac
bid
Jones,
for the
yeah,
longest
but
time, like not even being on A to Z, is that I think Mac Jones is underrated. Like if he gets in the right system, I think he could be pretty good. And he goes to Kyle Shanahan, looks pretty dang good.
sure, so coaches matter, and Kyle Shanahan's a better head coach than Brian Callahan. Yeah, duh. Like, of course, everybody believes. Nobody doesn't believe that. Like, but again, like Mac Jones has played north of 50 games in the NFL, and Cam's played 4. So there's no way you can compare those things. I don't think Cam Ward would have done very well with that Niners roster of practice squatters, like Section 240 says. So look, anyway, but back to the footwork side of this is. Nothing's linear in the NFL, and that absolutely includes quarterback development and footwork. And the thing about Cam that was always going to be a challenge was his talent is unique, right? Similar to the Patrick Mahomes talent, the raw talent is unique. How can you make it work in the NFL structure? Because there is zero margin for error. The timing has to be more exact, as Callahan said. It's very important for that to be tightened up, not change it, tighten. Do not try to make Cam Ward something he is not, but take his raw talent and ability and just tighten, right? Tighten. That's what they have to do.
Yeah, and it's gonna be hard, right? Because you need at least a baseline of some sort of technique to make that work. And I think Cam Ward, you go back to the college eval, you go back to what we said, like going through the pre-draft process, like Cam Ward's footwork has always been a very big issue. And I think, we didn't even talk about it that much through the preseason, but this was going to be an issue. And so how you work through that, I think you're exactly right. Like it still is an indictment on Brian Callahan and this offensive staff. Like currently with this team, you're not going to be able to play in a lot of structure right now with how Cam is developing. So you have to make the right ways to get him outside of structure, because that's where he is the most comfortable with his footwork, is playing that, street kind of football. And you can only hope to make that in structure kind of work better and better. Like it's inching every single week, right? Baby steps, but they still need to lean into what Cam Ward can do right now to elevate this team, which is playing out of structure.
For sure. Okay, so there's a lot of comments. Cam Ward himself says, I think people are overestimating Cam Ward, in third person right there. Andre says Cam's footwork has been an issue. Yes. We also have below average coaches working with him. I mean, I don't know what Bo Hardigree is. Where does Bo Hardigree rank in quarterback coach around the NFL? I have no idea. Like it's kind of an impossible thing to do. Like coaches are going to be not as good looking if they have worse players or younger players or inexperienced players. It's kind of hard to know that. I mean, I think Bo Hardigree has a fine reputation, but like Brian Callahan has not been very good as a head coach. True. But what does that mean as him as a quarterback coach? I think that's different things overall. So another comment that I wanted to get to that I think is this kind of encapsulates the entire week from my point of view of not being on the show since Monday. Edwards says the same footwork is getting these passes dropped. This comment is the problem with the Titans ecosystem right now. Just because we're talking about Cam's footwork that needs to be better doesn't mean that we're giving the drop passes a pass. Right? Like, can we, with our complex brains that we as human beings have, have specific conversations about these things. We are not talking about the pass catchers. We are talking about Cam Ward. We're having a Cam Ward conversation. His wide receivers and tight ends have dropped too many footballs. Cam Ward's footwork has not been good. He has thrown inaccurate passes at times. He has thrown accurate passes at times that have been dropped. He has been really good at times. He has been really bad at times. He has played 4 games. The Titans' offensive line is not to blame for all 17 sacks or pressures that Cam Ward has gotten. Some of them, yes, but some of them were Cam's. So, Edward, the same footwork is having him throw inaccurate balls at times, but sometimes he's really good and his talent is very high and he can make some sick throws off balance or with bad footwork. Right. But like, this is the problem that I've seen on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere, every live shows, radio callers, everybody's trying to make every comment about the whole picture. That's impossible. You cannot say everything about the Titans in one sentence. It would not be a good sentence.
Yes.
The English language would strike you down. So can we please understand when we're having specific conversations? We're not giving a pass just because we did not mention Calvin Ridley this show about his drops doesn't mean Calvin Ridley's perfect just because we haven't talked about it yet, right? Calvin Ridley has to be better. It's ridiculous how bad he's been. You know, like, so we have to understand that you cannot have, unless you just want to say we ass. Right,
which they do.
Cam did
say.
it though.
That's all they do. That's all they want to say.
Right. But that, come on, on a show where we can't just say, you know what, Titans ass, and then like, see you guys later. Thanks, sponsors. That's not how it works.
But that's also the funny thing. I do want to point that out because when we were giving, I guess, confidence and hope to the Titans getting this thing turned around in terms of the run game, everybody in the comments was like, "Oh, where is this confidence coming from, guys? Like, what do you mean? Like, stop being confident. Like, people just want us to come on here and just say we ass. Like, I think that's the thing. Like, it's either we ass or we don't talk about it. It seems like with Titans fans right now.
Crazy. All right, let's get a super chat out of here before I continue back to my vacation. All right, Johnny says the back to basics comment rubbed me the wrong way. Where was this in the off season? They taught calculus before algebra, and it shows. Maybe, right? Like that could be the case.
Yeah,
is that they overestimated their roster's ability, and that's the hard thing about training camp. That's why joint practices are important, but those don't even tell the whole story. Because when we're watching, like, how many passes, JT, did Calvin Ridley drop in training camp? I have one that comes to my mind. I have one that comes to my mind, and that was an arguable drop because it was behind him as he was like running across the field. I had to do this number. There was no drops problem in training camp for Calvin Ridley. Unless you remember otherwise. There was zero questions about Calvin Ridley dropping footballs.
Sure.
In training.
Yes, there was no question. However, there were many days where I was at camp and saying this was not a good day for the offense. Calvin had another drop. Like, this offense can't keep going. Like, so like I may push back on that just a little bit.
I don't remember that at all. Now, I only went to a handful of practices. I went to like 6. But there were no narratives on drops. And Bustin says maybe he wasn't dropping balls because he was going against Titans defense. Sure. And that's the whole point of training camp, is you don't know what's actually good and what's actually not good.
Yes.
And Roy was Cam firing the fastballs. I don't think so. I didn't notice the fastball nature of Cam in training camp like I have in the regular season. Yes. I didn't notice in the preseason, not maybe the Van Jefferson Atlanta play was that one, but not in practice.
Yeah,
you know,
no. I agree. There was no narrative, but there were a little bit more drops.
Yeah, because you have, well, yeah, there's just more reps in practice than there is in game, right?
Yeah.
Like in practice, Calvin Ridley or any receivers catching 25 passes compared to maybe 5 in a game, right? So there's
Yeah.
there's more room for a drop just based on percentages. So, but there wasn't a problem. The offensive line looked good. Cam was playing on time. Guys were getting open, making plays, and now it's just not working. So, um, but the whole calculus over algebra thing, maybe, but it's hard to judge when they're just going up against themselves for a month and a half.
Exactly.
So, all right. It is now time for a little good news. Ain't that good news? But first, tell everybody about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. If you have an injury, make sure you go check them out. Have them check you out to get back to health, whatever that injury may be. Tendonitis in my knee, flaring up a little bit on this trip here, but that's okay. I know how to recover it. I know how to do my at-home rehab because the Bone and Joint Institute educated me on how to do that. I got to work on some eccentric motion today when I'm walking on the sand. But we'll have them always there ready to go for us. Boneandjointtn.org. It is now time for good news. If you have good news, let's hear it. Shout out to Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. JT, good news time. The good news, I haven't seen anybody correctly guess where I'm at.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, good news for you. There's nobody's guessed right. So there you go. Let's see what else we got here in the chat. Jason says, good news, just closed on a 2-acre property to start his RV/boat/trailer storage business in Florida. That should be fun. Good for you. Nero says, good news, Michigan plays again this week. Don't tell Jeff, but good for you, Nero. Enjoy that one. Bork says, good news is manifesting a raise during my annual review in a few minutes. Bork, tell him that you deserve it. Tell him that I said you deserve it. There you go. They'll listen to me. Chris says he starts a job on Tuesday. Daniel says, good news, headed to Nashville on Tuesday for a few days. Have fun. Jeff says, good news, interview went well yesterday. On a phone interview right now, listening to the show / on a phone interview. Sketchy play call there, but I respect it. Rooney says, good news, fall is here. Let's see. Vanessa says, good news. Great lawyers kicking ass right now. I'm super happy starting to learn Madden. Let's see what else we have here. Good news from Aaron. Just got the new Superman movie on digital. Good movie. I'll stand by that every single day of the week. And then Chase says, good news. I'll be busy this Sunday, so I won't be able to suffer with y'all against Arizona.
Well, Sunday, you and Easton are going to be at Margaritaville, second floor right there, Traveler Whiskey Mill Light. Shout out to them. So if you guys do want to go hang out, it is a late kickoff, right? The 3 p.m. Central kickoff.
Yes.
There. So JT and Easton will be there. So you can
we will be hanging out for the 1 p.m. game. So you guys can
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Noon games, kick it off with Margaritaville. It's a great place. So check it out there. People continuing to guess. Bork said, I am not at Margaritaville since they're a sponsor. Nope, I am not. I'm not in Myrtle Beach. I am in the state of Florida, but that is where I will leave it at. Although one person has correctly.
One person got it.
I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to say who, but one person has gotten it correctly. But JT, what's your good news?
My good news is that I'm with Rooney. It's almost fall. It's spooky season. I'm going to my first.
Technically, it is fall.
Yeah, but it's not really fall.
The fall weather is almost here.
Yes, it's almost here. But my good news is I'm going to the first haunted house of my October. So tonight. So that should be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, there you go. My good news is Vols bye week, which means I don't have to worry about that stress.
There you go.
On a Saturday, and then continuing with a little vacation in the middle of October, in the beginning of October. I gotta say, it's a great time to go to the beach. It's a great time. It's an off season. There's not a lot of people here. Good spot here.
Yeah, I like Borks actually. Real quick, I should use this that I'm finally away from Easton. I don't have to do a show with Easton for the 4th day in a row. That's good. My good news as well.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. You will have to spend the entire day with him on Sunday.
Yes. Well, it's okay. I get a break. So
Yeah, you get a break of 1 day, 2 days, I guess technically. All right, guys, that is it for us. Again, make sure you hit up Easton and JT at Margaritaville on the 2nd floor at the Landshark Bar and Grill. Traveler Whiskey, Miller Lite. Shout out to them for our great sponsors for our game day live. Again, the pregame show will be at like 2:30 Central, but JT just said they'll be there at noon for the noon slate of games. So go check them out. There's so many TVs across everywhere. Make sure you hit the like button, like the show before you get out of here on this Friday. Have a great start to your weekend. JT Neeson, we'll see you on Sunday. Appreciate it. Thanks.